So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that the wall was up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that really did make a world of difference. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're hopping into it. We are going to be starting up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, atop of the pink Zerg player. Give it up for team expert Scarlett.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, the King of the North, defending his title from Team Elevate, it is MaSa.
Ace match tempo. Winners moves on to the grand finals. Loser goes home to the losers bracket.
It's like, yeah, just where I like. Home is where the heart is, right? The losers bracket. But honestly, when you get to that losers bracket, it doesn't mean that it's over. Obviously, you get that second chance in order to just chance of redemption. So.
Yeah. And you know what? With Frost, and of course these spawn locations, tempo, I would be honestly surprised if we didn't see a 1 Rax Reaper going from 3-2 to 1.
Yeah. You could be that guy that goes for the 3 Rax Reaper.
Just puts him in the middle of the map, is like, you know what? 25% chance, or 33% chance,
exactly.
I should say.
Yeah. So luckily, I would say for Scarlett, it is going to be cross position. Definitely something that Terran players don't usually like. I think they prefer to have either the vertical or the horizontal position.
Yeah, I think Apotheosis is a really good example of that, and the Zerg win rate on that map. Such a long map and big trouble for any Terran player trying to put on continuous pressure, especially the type that we've been seeing out of MaSa, that parade pushing style where he's just rallying units across the map, not coming in like big waves, just as soon as they're ready, get over there. We need to make this happen right now.
Yeah, really hard to do when you have that much ground to cover. So I think as it stands, MaSa is going to realize that it is going to be cross, and then I wonder if he has a build that is specific to that, or if he's just going to be like, all right, it doesn't really matter. This is game number 3. I've tried this before. And it's not the first time that he's been in a situation where he plays a Zerg player that has cross position on Frost.
You know, it is always a little bit frustrating, I think, whenever a Terran player, because you were saying they don't really want those cross-spawn positions, and there's only a 33% chance that you actually ever end up getting them. It's the least likely. You're more likely to get either vertical or horizontal, which I think a Terran player, you can work with that. You can put some pressure on the third very easily. You can drop around, really put the pressure on, but these locations, Scarlett is going to have a lot easier of a time, I think, defending. And that is one of the big things I want to note, is that Scarlett is this player that I think, whenever I think of Scarlett, I think of 2 things. One, she is literally in your main base, making a hatchery next to your face, and also pointing and laughing at you right next door and being like, ha ha ha, this is so funny. Or she is Queen of Blades mode, she is going crazy on macro, she is going to a super fast high tech. Those are the 2 styles I think she feels most comfortable with. And I think this map really does allow her to work with that second style.
Exactly. Here, the map and the positioning, and another really important part, the creep spread. MaSa's not going to be able to put the pressure on that he's been able to do, really stopping that creep spread before it gets started. This is a perfect opportunity for that map to just get covered up in that wonderful, beautiful, silky purple. So...
Well, Reaper going to be chasing those Zerglings, or I should say the Zerglings chasing the Reapers. But, ooh, really cool. I actually don't really see that often, with Marines join in with the Reaper.
Yeah, you know, usually you see them on the ramp just hanging out waiting, because MaSa is actually doing that common build. It is that double racks here, the 2-1-1, and once again, you're going to switch over that starport onto that reactor. So, Scarlett, depending on if she is expecting it or not. Well,
bit of indecision. He's like, you know what? I don't want a reactor on this turn.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, it looks exactly like it. And I was going to say, if Scarlett is expecting MaSa to do a MaSa build, then if he had gone for that double medevac drop, she might have got caught off guard by it. But MaSa's doing a MaSa build.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? MaSa was like, you know what? If she comes in with an Overlord, she'll see the starport on the reactor for a split moment. Then I'll kill up the Overlord. Factory will be in the reactor. Boom.
Wow.
If it happens during that exact split second.
Yeah. Did it. No.
Nailed it. But, you know, Scarlett, going to be going for the melee upgrades. Going to be going into Ling Bling unit once again. So, in some ways, do you feel like this is going to be more preparing her for it? Or do you think she's going to have a harder time against this sort of style from MaSa?
I think when you don't have roaches, I was going to say, if you don't have roaches to deal with this, it's actually pretty difficult. But ever since the Queen did get that buff for the range, it's been a lot easier to deal with it, because what you need to do is try to take out the medevac as best as you can. A lot of the all-ins and more aggressive plays out of Terran that utilize the medevac, are not as effective anymore just because of that. So,
but this is going to be a MaSa style push as the Marines do try and put some pressure on. The real danger here is the fact that Hellions were made and an Armory is on the way. We are going to likely be seeing the Hellbat push. And Tempo, I thought we were watching Legends of the Void, not Heart of the Swarm, but Marines getting all surrounded. Medevac gets solo and gets taken out right now. That was such an important part of this push in Tempo because that was supposed to heal up the Hellbat.
Exactly, and if you don't have the Spine Crawler or you don't have Roaches or Banes, it does get a bit more difficult to deal with it, but without the Medevac, you can actually start to chip away at those Hellbats. You can kite and also get surrounds as best as you can. You really need to get this around, though. You need to go from all angles here. Start to go, and there you go, from the top side and the left.
Zerglings actually coming in from the backside. The Hellbats are focused on trying to fire at the front, and Scarlett looks like she's able to hold on. The Queen's all still alive. The Marines only got one Medevac left, and it is going to be ditching them.
What a hold. Scarlett holds in fantastic fashion. And imagine if there was a second Medevac with that push.
Oh, that
would have been a little bit more difficult.
Difference. That would have given him so much power with that push. But now Scarlett gonna be finishing up her lair deck, gonna be finishing up the 1-1 upgrades. And you have to remember that MaSa didn't have 1-1 on the way. He is only now finishing up combat shields. He is only now getting up those engineering bays, and he is only now getting up his third expansion.
Yep, it just started, right? And he's building it on location so that he doesn't have to lose any time. Scarlett, if she's able, I think she can see that, but once again, it's just one of those things where you feel amazing when you see those turn into Hellbats and you just absolutely stuff that push. You know that MaSa invested into that and he delayed something to make it work. And guess what, Fear Dragon, it didn't work.
It did not at all on these Queens, man. For Scarlett, I don't know if she just always expects that her creep spread is amazing, so they'll always be on creep that far out, or what, but she is constantly just pushing the edge, always off of creep with those Queens.
Yeah, so really, really awesome quality of Scarlett. Definitely something that has defined her over these years. And it's cool because it hasn't faded.
No,
you know,
hasn't.
It's one of those things that's like, well, she's always good at that. And on a map like Frost, we were saying it, MaSa has to go from all the way in the bottom left hand of the map to try to deal with this creep. It just takes too long to get there, and then now it's just like it's getting out of control already.
Scarlett has not won this game just yet, but Spire is on the way, and she's sitting in a good position. Liberators also being produced right now for MaSa. Liberators can be pretty effective versus those Spire tech units, and in fact, it's a lot of the reason why many Zerg players, especially in the European scene, don't really feel as comfortable going for the Needleless.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they still can be very effective, especially when you just make them and then force out those Liberators. But honestly, you just don't see it as much.
Yeah.
You
have to play so perfectly with them. But
yes.
Scarlett, again, she's a big believer in the Korean style of Zerg play. She believes that it is the stronger way because you can go for the melee upgrades and you can transition out into Ultralisk or the Broodlords.
Yep.
You can do either or.
And we saw that she favored the Broodlords in the first game, but she was under a lot of pressure and probably felt that, if I...
It's a bit faster.
Yeah. And just the fact that it's the map like Frozen Temple, sometimes it's a little bit more hard. On Frost, I think Ultras are going to be an amazing idea. And also, since she's spawning in cross positions, wait a minute though, the Lings getting in here, there's no bunker, but the AI of those Lings are going to go over and try to magnetize those Marines.
Yeah, but it's still a lot of the Zerglings getting on top of the SCV is actually target firing down each one of them. 12 workers go down, a drop on the top side. Also happens at Scarlett's third expansion, but Scarlett is already evacuated. The problem is she's not dealing with a Liberator over the Natural.
Oh, the mutas are starting to come out now, but it's going to be a bit of time, and these Liberators have got the damage that they wanted to get done. MaSa is starting to be everywhere right now as the Liberators take out 13, 14 workers. Now the Marines are starting to go ahead into the main, and Scarlett getting pushed apart or peeled apart.
This is not a worker-friendly game, but Scarlett does not care. She's making 13 more workers tempo, so only going to be 6 behind where she would have otherwise been, but +2 melee is going to be finishing up, +1 flyer attack is going up right now. Scarlett is still securing a very dominant upgrade lead.
Yeah, and I don't believe she started the Infestation Pit yet, so she's not rushing to Hive. She's actually sticking on that Ling Bane Muta, and eventually you do have to get up to Hive. In Legacy of the Void, you were saying people don't make Mutas, and that's a really good reason why, is because of the Liberator count. So once that gets too high, you have to have a next step. You cannot stay on Mutas for too long, unless you're able to keep that Liberator count at bay.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of Widow Mines. I am actually more concerned about the friendly fire damage that could happen over there.
It could be ugly, right?
All right, well, MaSa moving around, trying to dance with the devil over there in the center of the map as he stims around and prepares for the worst, but Scarlett is moving around herself with her Mutalisk, looking for opportunity. Oh my god, the bait! Banelings.
Gonna
So
go in. Look,
close.
she's targeting down those, or rather the engineering bays, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I wonder if MaSa, right?
Oh,
Here on the right-hand side, a good Baneling hit there, but there are too many Marines and good enough SimCity to deal with that Ling counterattack.
You know, it's so funny. MaSa is actually just stopping Scarlett from going to those Widow fights.
I mean, it's not making it too obvious,
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
right? So, that would be an absolute disaster if she went in there, but this is looking pretty decent, actually, because those Liberators are mainly sieged up.
Yeah.
I don't see the big group of them just yet. They were at the natural before, but seems like maybe they're still over there.
Yeah, I think also 2-2 finishing up for MaSa in about a minute and a half or so. So still got a bit of time, but Widow Mind's gonna kill off a decent chunk of the Zerglings, but Sasha still manages to push on through, getting into the natural expansion. Banelings all making their way into the natural expansion, knocking down the supply depot wall. Oh my god, and the Banelings run straight past all the SCVs. We don't care about those. We're going to the main base.
Indeed, right onto the production as Scarlett trying to get some damage done. Pulling MaSa apart at the third base. Does get cleaned up, doesn't take too much economic damage, but in the main, has it been cleaned up? I think there are still links, but no, with that production ramping up, it looks like it will get cleaned up.
I mean, 3 bases still exist for MaSa, but remember, it's 33 workers left over after 27 have gone down. Zergling still doing a little bit of damage, keeping MaSa at home, forcing into stim. Look at the energy on those medevacs. That is not very high for a very good reason. And those Mutiles are going to be looking for blood, but the Liberators going to catch all of the Mutiles. Look at them go down, but somehow Scarlett, with balls of steel, catches the Liberators and is able to do it.
Yeah, that's actually really sick that she split them right beforehand. I thought that she was just going to fly them right into the Liberators and they would all die.
When you play the game of Liberators, you either go in and lose all of your Mutalists, or you go in and you basically kill all the Liberators.
All the Liberators, indeed. And here we go. Too much multi-pronged aggression. MaSa might get this base here, Fair Dragon, but honestly, that is the least of his problems, right?
He is losing his entire economy down to just 16 workers. High tech also going up. MaSa is on an enormous timer right now. If he doesn't win the game right now, I don't know if he's going to get another opportunity to. This is his best shot. The Baneling is trying to find some connection. Getting some not so great connection, but it's going to be more than enough. Scarlett advances on 2-1.
Wow, is going to advance.